Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting, and as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And joining me today is my faithful co-host, my dear, beloved wife, Sara.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my beloved husband.
Why do you always bring that dog in here?
He follows me.
I know. It's like this dog gets more attention than I do.
Now.
Well, come on.
Totally different kind of attention.
I have very fragile feelings. You know that. Okay. All right. What's been on your mind lately?
On my mind?
Your mind, your heart.
Oh, wow.
What do you want to say today?
Well, we just got to meet our eldest son's girlfriend.
Yes.
It came on really fast, so they were like official before we were. We've met her, but it was like we hadn't really got to talk to her.
It's the first time. He's 19 and a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never been on a date in his life.
Well, they went on a few dates before they decided to be official, but...
Well, no, but
yeah,
before this girl,
yeah.
Never been on a date before.
Yeah.
She's a really nice young lady.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Their whole family came over. Her family came over, and we met her brothers and her sister and her mom.
Serious stuff here.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice.
Well, we don't know where that's going to lead, but I guess time will tell. We will definitely find out. And in the meantime, we're canning tomatoes, stacking firewood, trying to shoot deer.
Yeah.
And not being real successful at it, but
I think I'm going to try to rip up my oregano that went sick, and so there's room for the thyme to grow.
You're going to euthanize your oregano?
It's sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just going to keep canning more tomatoes because my wife loves tomatoes. So I need figured 360 quarts will get us through to the next year.
Yeah. Probably less would, I can
we had 304.
Economize a little.
We had 304 last year, and we were a little short. We had to back off on it.
Yeah.
So
okay. We'll do whatever you get. We'll be grateful for, and we'll use that.
I will do my best. Well, Sara, what is on the show today?
Well, today we are talking to Tom Kubiniek all about his residential gun storage safes. He's the president and CEO of Secure It Tactical Incorporated. Then we'll be talking to firearms instructor Marty Martin from Florida in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report about the robbery that didn't happen. Sounds like a good story.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny too. But
we like those kind of robberies, right?
Oh, yeah. I like interesting crime.
Well, I like crime that didn't happen.
Well, especially interesting crime that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's good.
That's about as good as it gets.
That is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, but I don't want to give away the
Give it away?
ending. Yeah.
Okay.
So who knows what happens, right?
Okay.
But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Centershot Indoor Gun Range, Trinity Training and Security, and Apple Tree Media. All right, Sara, what's in the news today?
Washington. In the wake of the latest deadly attack on a school by a transgender identifying person, President Donald Trump's Justice Department is considering blocking trans-identifying people from buying firearms, the Daily Wire has learned. Individuals within the DOJ are reviewing ways to ensure that mentally ill individuals suffering from gender dysphoria are unable to obtain firearms while they are unstable and unwell. One source inside the Justice Department told the Daily Wire. The DOJ's discussions center on the fact that those who identify as transgender suffer from gender dysphoria, a mental disorder. The DOJ source familiar with the conversations shared with the Daily Wire. Gender dysphoria describes the sense of unease that a man or woman may feel if he or she thinks that their biological sex is mismatched with their so-called gender identity. Under Attorney General Bondi's leadership, this Department of Justice is actively considering a range of options to prevent mentally unstable individuals from committing acts of violence, especially at schools, the spokesman said. Given the rise in transgender violence over the past decade, particularly aimed at school children, many on the right have argued that authorities should be taking a much closer look at the warning signs exhibited by transgender shooters. Last week's deadly shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis, in which trans-identifying shooter Robin Westman killed 2 children and injured many more, has prompted calls from the right to investigate transgender domestic terrorism. The Daily Wire reported this week that the White House's draft national security strategy on domestic terrorism will specifically address transgender violence. Westman's actions came only 2 years after another trans-identifying killer, this one a woman who identified as a man, targeted Christian school children in Nashville. 1 week later, leaders of Catholic and independent schools in Minnesota had called on Governor Tim Walz to help prevent similar shootings, as the Daily Wire reported earlier this week. A review by the Daily Wire found that the Annunciation school shooting and the Covenant Christian school shooting are just 2 examples of a steady stream of transgender-related violence over the past decade. Democrats have called for common sense gun laws for a long time, the DOJ source shared on Thursday, adding, "This seems pretty common sense to me." The move would undoubtedly infuriate those on the left who believe that men can become women and women can become men, and that people who identify as transgender are not mentally ill but merely living in the wrong body. These critics argue that transgender identification is irrelevant when discussing school shootings, and that even discussing the topic puts transgender identifying people in danger and should be off limits.
Well, this article is filled with landmines for a talk show host.
It is. That's like a hot.
Should we tiptoe around this, or should we just run through the landmine and just, let the body parts fall where they may?
We're going to have to be honest. Got to say what's true, otherwise don't talk.
Well, then I'll let you go first.
Well,
you're the much more compassionate part of this team. So, what's going on here, Sarah?
Well, people are getting hurt because other people are sick. But there's lots of different kinds of sick. There's lots of different kinds of mental illness. This is certainly, I think you can certainly count it as one. And you know that a lot of them are on drugs to make it, or medication. I think it's called medication, but medication drugs. It's, things that change the way they behave.
Chemicals that aren't normally in your body.
Right. Maybe even prescribed by a doctor. It's not that I'm not saying they're, trying to do something. They may just be led down this path. There's a very strong lobby out there to become transgender, to go and experiment with this lifestyle. So I feel bad for these people. They're, some of them are being sucked into it. But then if they can't tell what's right and wrong anymore, and they think it's right all of a sudden to go and kill everybody who might look at them crossways, then you can't give them guns on purpose.
Well, we can't give guns to anyone who's not in their right mind.
Right.
And that's been a standard. If you have been, adjudicated mentally insane, or if you've done certain things or threatened certain things, violence, that kind of thing, then you're not allowed to have guns. I mean, that's fairly universal.
Right.
And most people would not argue with that. I think the difference is the far left says that the far right is insane. Okay. And the far right is saying, listen, if you have man parts and you're convinced that you are a woman in a man's body, then you are sick. You're mentally sick, you're mentally ill, and you need help. That would be my view on that.
Keep it simple, straight to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been close enough to an honest discussion looking somebody in the face to have them tell me this is why I thought I wasn't actually what I was born as. I mean, I assume that there's some kind of reason. I think it has to do with, the internal makeup of being a man or a woman, and that they think that internally it just doesn't match with the parts they were given. But
well, and I think,
but I just feel like that's a discussion you usually have when you're, I don't know.
Well,
how is that?
What I'm seeing, Sarah, is they're catching these children when they're in elementary school.
From broken homes, maybe? They don't possibly have parents of that.
And like school counselors and teachers are noticing, oh, well, this 8-year-old played with a doll therefore he's a, woman trapped in a man's body, or maybe he's a little more effeminate than some of the other boys. And so, yeah, he must be, a woman in a man's body. And when you have authority figures like that who are encouraging you or putting these ideas in your head,
Mhm.
that's when bad things happen.
Those little ideas they plant,
Yeah.
those are dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, just because, one boy isn't as masculine as the other doesn't mean he's a woman trapped in a man's
He's still
body.
perfectly masculine because he's
Yeah.
a boy. He just is maybe less Neanderthal
Yeah.
or rough and tumble. You know,
Well, and maybe he's more sensitive.
I am grateful for men that have some
Yeah.
sensitivity. It would be really difficult in this world if if all the men had to be rough and tumble and I got to be the boss all
Yeah.
the time. And that's not a good way to have everybody be.
Well, I just what it tells me is God loves variety.
He does.
He doesn't make us all the same.
Right.
But in this case, he did make them male and female.
That's not a choice you get to make. That's kind of one of
Right.
those things. There are some choices that are given
There's
to you and some
reality.
things that aren't a
Yeah.
choice. That's
Well, and here, when early in the article, see, the far left is going crazy. They're saying, they're crying, bigot, bigot, you hate, transgender people. And that's just not the case.
really thought bigotry had to do with race.
Bigot has to do with anything. It's most recognized by race,
Okay, that's where I
but
heard
it
it
can
from.
also be like, sexism, all kinds of things, right? It's like a catch-all phrase
Is
now.
that a new use of that word? Is that a
Hey,
newer use?
if you're a conservative, you are a bigot by definition.
Oh,
That's the way they view us
good to
these
know.
days. But here, you're a bigot and you didn't even know it.
Hmm,
I should have told you. I'm sorry.
that's okay. It doesn't really change my life that much. I'll
Okay.
just go on about
Well,
business.
here it says that the Justice Department is considering blocking trans-identifying people from buying firearms. Quote, individuals within the DOJ are reviewing ways to ensure that mentally ill individuals suffering from gender dysphoria are unable to obtain firearms. See, it doesn't say if you're transgender, you can't own firearms. It says they're considering reviewing ways to ensure that if you're mentally ill, then you can't obtain firearms.
I think the question is it a mental illness or is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's what the whole thing hinges around. So
Yeah. Is if you're a man with man parts, you've been a man your whole life, and now you decide, okay, I'm really a woman trapped in a man's body, then it's like, at what point does that become a mental illness? It's like maybe you start out confused.
maybe you start out like experimenting with the wrong kind of clothes,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
cross-dressing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen some, I guess they're men dressing up as women. And it is
No,
that
I know.
stage is very terrifying.
Yeah.
It-
I'm not sure that transgender people understand how the visceral reaction that heterosexuals have to that. To me, it's like, this is just too weird. I'm sorry, I can't process this. It's like you're 6'4", you weigh 250 pounds, you have fake boobs.
You've met people like this.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
like,
In
yeah.
the store, and it's like I just want to, okay, I want to get away. I want to get away. And it's not just because they're different, it's because they're unnaturally different. It's like, this isn't normal. This is not natural. This is not what God had intended. And my overwhelming emotion, it's not anger, it's not hatred, it's not fear, it's pity.
Revulsion and pity. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
kind of
pity. I sympathize. I feel sorry for these
yeah.
people
There's
because they can never have a normal life.
well, not at first. I think they can heal. If they can heal,
Well, yeah.
then but I think that's kind of what this is. So this is while they're in this state, in this sense of gender dysphoria, they wouldn't be allowed to carry because
Because they're confused.
they're
They're confused about
totally
reality.
confused about
Yeah.
the basic thing. So straighten that out, get that figured out, and then try again, you know?
But yeah, this all comes down to, the two ideologies. The far
Mhm.
left says if you're transgender, that's healthy, that's good, that's normal, that's natural.
Why do they want to say that? Do you have any theory on that? Like, why would the left pick up this really kind of a crazy niche group and try to make them their poster child for freedom? Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they pick, I don't know,
Well,
something
I
that
think
people more naturally like
it's because of the
sympathize with?
natural progression. They started out with LG, lesbian, gay.
Right.
Then they added
Well,
bisexual.
I'm grouping all of them together. Why that whole group?
Well, no, but we're talking about transgenders right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Okay. And I think what we're finding out is transgenderism is a bridge too far. And even someone who's not far right, they look at that and go, this
There's
isn't
men in the
right.
girls' dressing room. I think that's
Yeah,
where it
men in the
really,
girls' dressing
or in the
room,
bathroom. I could go to the
men,
bathroom at Costco,
yes.
and there's every possibility I'm going to walk in there and have some big, enormous guy in there. So, like, I
And
can't let my daughter go by herself. She's
that's
14
right.
and a half, and I would
Right.
still not let her go by herself.
Well, and see, if our daughter was in public school, she could be playing volleyball or basketball against grown men who were
Well,
hurting
teenage men, but yeah,
men's bodies who were hurting them.
they get,
And
yes,
that's what people are railing against.
it's too
And
much.
and the more the far left doubles down on transgenderism,
People
the
go,
worse it's going to go. They're going to lose more and more people
yeah.
because it's not right, it's not natural, it's not good,
So
it's
if
not
we
fair.
call it a mental illness, does that help to make the discussion more productive and maybe help to get those kids, those
I
teenagers that are caught in this mess,
Yeah.
like back on the right track again?
Well, I think the whole idea, the goal should be to get these kids help. Okay. The far right, we're always demonized as being uncaring. We don't have hearts. We're cruel. All of this stuff.
Well, if your first reaction is, ew, gross, get away, I mean, that's not going to help. But if the first reaction is, wow, you really need help, how can I help you find your way again?
Well, to be honest, I don't think that will ever be my first reaction. That's my second reaction.
That's okay. That's
Okay.
the one you can
But
say
the
out loud.
second reaction, but the second reaction is the one that I act on.
Right. That's where
Okay.
it matters.
And I think conservatives need to view this as, okay, it is an illness. These people are sick. It's like, okay, if someone has the flu, what do? We treat them.
Ooh, gross. You got
Okay.
snot coming out of your nose.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't judge them
Give him a
and,
Kleenex.
and put them in a leper colony.
Give
Yeah,
him
I
some
think we need
vitamins,
to
send him
view
to
it the same
bed.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, these people need help. Let's get them the help that they need.
Well, there's other mental illnesses.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but there's the P word, if you want to go there, but that's a serious mental illness, and a lot of people struggle with that. So, I mean, I think a little sympathy is important to pornography, right?
Oh,
I mean,
pornography.
how
I'm
many,
going, what are you
what's the P
talking
word?
about?
Yeah, porn. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's a rampant problem, even among,
Well,
conservative
it's
Christian
an
types.
addiction.
It's an
Yeah.
addiction, and it leads to all kinds of mental
Yeah.
problems, spirit problems, heart problems. And so, this is just
Yeah.
one more related thing. This is a very far
We
stretch of it,
need
but it's the
to
same
treat
thing.
the sick people in
Yeah.
our society.
Clean. Go for clean.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, now that in the
We
past
got that through
we've
there.
been accused of, being biased and bigots and all that stuff, and now we've opened our mouths and removed all doubt in the minds of liberals. But
It's okay. They
it's
listen to our show.
it's
That's what I hope.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for us to have opinions about this. We're not judging other people or condemning other people. We're saying we want to help you. And they're saying we don't want your help.
Well, some of them are, but some
Yeah,
of them might be. And, we don't have it all figured out either. We're still,
that's true.
learning.
I don't think that
I'm not perfect. I have a
I don't
lot of
think that
sugar.
medicine has really dealt with this in a constructive way yet.
Medicine?
The medical doctors, as far
Oh,
as transgenderism,
yeah.
I
I
think
think
it's
they should
been
stay out of it.
well, I think it's been politicized so much that who knows? But you know, we'll let you guys form your own opinions. But now you know our opinion. But now that I always feel when I talk about things like that, I just
A place for them to leave comments.
oh well, you just send comments on podbean.com
Yeah.
or maybe just skipcoriel@hotmail.com. No hate mail, please.
But if you got questions or comments, we can pick them up
Sure.
and, maybe we can include them in the next show.
I'll just give them your personal email. Is that
My
okay?
personal email?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I've got like 5 of them.
it's my job to protect you, Sarah.
Okay,
I
okay.
wouldn't do that. But let's have
I'm sure
something
my
positive
listeners will say
now.
something good.
You are going to love this.
Okay.
This is the Home Defense Show Hero of the Week, and you haven't read this yet.
No. Yeah, I was just going to
So
tell
I
our
wanted
listeners.
I wanted your raw, visceral reaction to
Oh
this.
man.
So
Oh man.
here you
Pressure's
go.
on. The pressure's on. Okay. After Arabella and her husband discovered their daughter was severely autistic, they spent years trying to figure out how best to help her. It was an uphill battle. Iris Grace didn't speak or communicate. She avoided other children and refused to play, even with her parents. She didn't engage with the world, refusing to make eye contact with others. She often became anxious and upset, especially around people and in environments she didn't know. One day, Arabella was doodling on a piece of paper when 3-year-old Iris walked up to her, seemingly fascinated by the drawing. Arabella seized on the unexpected connection and introduced her daughter to painting. But despite an intense interest in her art, Iris remained disconnected from the world. When you research autism, said Arabella in an interview with Bored Panda, there are stories that come up from time to time about the wonderful effects that animals can have on a child with autism. She wanted to give it a try, but Iris didn't respond to horses. Dogs were even worse. Iris hated being licked and quickly became overwhelmed by the rapid movements of a wagging tail. Discouraged, Arabella soon gave up on the idea. Around the same time, Arabella reluctantly agreed to pet sit her brother's cat while he was out of town for Christmas. She worried the temporary addition to their home would cause Iris too much stress, especially since Iris had been feeling sick. Seeing Iris bond with the cat surprised her, and she renewed her search for the perfect therapy animal. When they brought home Thula, a fluffy Maine Coon kitten, Iris responded immediately. She cradled the kitten in her arms, stroking its fur and whiskers. Since that day, they became inseparable. Despite not being trained as a therapy cat, Thula instinctively knew what Iris needed, even walking over to sit in her lap whenever she became anxious. They slept in the same bed and played with the same toys. Wherever Iris went, Thula would be there too. Iris even started to speak simple phrases like sit, cat, or more cat. In an interview with CNN, Arabella recalls how much Iris hated the sensation of water against her skin. Getting her to take a bath was always difficult, but since Maine Coons loved water, Thula would happily jump into the tub instead. It didn't take long for Iris to learn to tolerate her baths, as long as Thula was in the water too. Thula loved all of the things that Iris found difficult, Arabella said. It was like heaven. Today, Iris has become famous for her extraordinary paintings. Her dreamy and whimsical art has been compared to Monet, and celebrities like Angelina Jolie have purchased her work. She still has trouble with social skills, and speech remains difficult. But thanks to Thula, she has come a long way from when she was first diagnosed at 2. Now it's a different story, Arabella writes on their website. She plays, communicates, and her sleeping is much better.
Are you gushing inside?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. You're like
Wow.
melting, aren't you? You're filled with.
It makes me think of my little second son, who is no longer little. He's quite larger than me now, but
Oh, Phoenix is
yeah.
slightly. We think he's slightly autistic.
Well, I think he would have been a lot autistic, but we not artistic, sorry, autistic. We think he would have been a lot autistic back when he was younger, but we took him to a naturopath and kind of we
Yeah,
went down a like major
got him on the right path.
diet plan, which seems to have helped, but I
Yeah.
remember all of this, like connecting with people is hard, and he would get so stressed out by changes and harsh noises and light.
Well, this right here, that just what, a week ago, we had someone drop off 6 kittens.
Yeah.
They just dropped them off on the side of the road, and someone brought them to us. Actually, not to me, because I was thinking, oh, great, I've got to get rid of these 6 cats. But my wife is such a soft touch that it's like that boy that brought those 6 kittens here, he knew you would take them.
He just knocked on the door, and I
Yeah,
happened to be
he's
the one to
standing
open.
there with 6 baby kittens.
Yes,
And
all wrapped up in
you
his
know what
blanket.
I said to him? He says, well, hey, I found these 6 kittens on the side of the road right down there, and I don't know what to do with them. And I said, take them to your house. But he knew that if you took him to his house, those kittens would not live very long.
Mm-mm.
So he brought him here to soft touch Sara.
Well, we thought we were going to have to put him down because we just can't keep 6 more cats. But
Yeah.
luckily, our kids kind of put out a notice on our church network, and we ended up, and family and friends too, but it turned out some people from our church were able to take 2 pairs to one family, or 2 to one family and 2 to another family. And
So we got rid
we
of
kept
4
2.
of them, gave them good homes, and we kept 2.
Our old cat is not
Much
very
to
happy.
my dismay.
Yes, and our older cat, oh my goodness, she is just not happy with those kittens.
Well, hey, suck it up. So the
This
hero.
is not about the cat. This is about that little
This is
girl
about
with the mother finding the solution.
Iris.
Yeah.
Okay, she has become famous for her extraordinary paintings. Her
Amazing.
dreamy and whimsical art has been compared to Monet, and celebrities like Angelina Jolie have purchased her work.
Just amazing.
This is great. I mean, the hero, it's not really the cat, because the cat's just doing what he thought he was doing. I think it's the mom and dad
Yeah, they just
that
hung
stuck
in the
with it.
fight.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They
And
loved that
just
little
kept
girl.
trying stuff.
Crying. Well, and the little girl, I mean, that's tough, right? She can't, she can't hardly even talk.
Yeah.
How would you go through life like that? So she was sticking with it too, and then they found a way to reach her, and she just pursued it to the end of it. So
So
great.
who is the hero?
I don't know, the mom and the daughter and God, guess for arranging the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And
There's
the cat.
lots of heroes there.
Yep.
Yeah, and the cat. Yeah.
This is the feel-good story of the week. All right. What's coming up next in the show, Sara?
Next, we're talking to Tom Kubiniek, all about his residential gun storage safes. He is the president and CEO of Security Tactical Incorporated. Then we'll be talking to firearms instructor Marty Martin from Florida in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report about the robbery that didn't happen.
Yeah, you guys are going to love Tom Kubiniek and his gun storage safes. He has a very unique way of doing it. He has a system that works. You're going to love it. And then Marty Martin from Florida will be talking about a really bizarre store robbery, attempted store robbery. It didn't quite happen, but it is really funny. So you're going to like that as well. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe, and watch out for all of those stray cats, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
In today's world, safety and preparedness are more important than ever. At Trinity Training and Security, we offer comprehensive training for your peace of mind. Whether you're obtaining your concealed pistol license, mastering CPR and first aid, or engaging in scenario-based training, we've got you covered. We look forward to working with you in one of our classes or bringing the class to your church, school, or business. Need security for an event? Protecting your assets? Our team provides private security, close protection, media crew escorts, high security terminations, and more. Always with discretion and professionalism. With Trinity, safety is more than a service. It's a commitment.
Some say his face is painfully ugly, and I agree. But who cares? This is radio. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. All right, listeners, before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. And now I'd like to welcome Tom Kubiniek to the show. He's the president and CEO of Security Tactical Incorporated. Tom, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Well, thank you, Skip. It's looking forward to it. I saw this on the calendar, and I'm like, this will be a good conversation.
Well, I try to make everything entertaining, educational, and just fun, because I figure if you and I are having fun, then the listeners are having fun too.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Tom, I've been on your website. It looks good. You do a lot of stuff. You got a lot of things going. Why don't you tell us about Security Tactical Incorporated?
Okay, so Securit started in 2002 is when I first formed the idea, and it was a division of a company that I was running. And we started building armories for the military. In 2008, we patented at the time, the Securit Tactical Integrated Weapon Storage Platform, what we simply call Cradle Grid now, in 2008. And by 2011, we were the primary supplier to the U.S. military. We design and build armories all over the world for all branches of the military. We do a lot of foreign fighting forces. And then in 2015, we decided to go into consumer products. That was really driven by a lot of the SEAL team guys that were asking us for storage solutions for their homes. And our big military racks really aren't efficient and really designed for home use. So we created a line of modular, lightweight, really adaptable gun safes. And we launched those in end of 2015, and they just took off. The company, we made Inc. Magazine's fastest growing companies in America twice in 3 years. And the popularity now, our consumer products is now probably 75 to 80% of our total company sales.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's really taken off.
Yeah. Tom, I am really not surprised. I was on your website and I was looking at some of your systems there. One of the challenges that the average homeowner has is, okay, we like our ARs, our carbines, but it's not as easy to safely store those and make them readily accessible as just a small pistol that's next to your bed. Talk about some of the systems that you have for residential for carbine types.
Yeah, everything we do is based on our core principles that we developed working with U.S. Army Special Forces Command. And that was a contract from back in 2008 and 9, where we worked with them for 18 months to really define what is a functional armory and what does it take to create one. When you look at consumers and consumer gun ownership and traits, behaviors, everything, the needs are the same between soldiers, military, and consumers. And that is, you need secure storage, discrete secure storage, I'll say, and you need fast access. So every safe we make is classified as a fast access safe. I'll get to that in a second. And then we make safes that are lightweight and modular. So instead of this idea of, you go to a safe, like a distributor or a big safe store, and the guys will always tell you, buy the biggest safe you can afford because you're going to grow into it. It's the idea that everybody buys just one. And we think that's crazy. Buy what you need right now. If you get more guns, buy another one. We have what we call the principles of decentralized storage, where instead of having a huge gun safe in your basement, you've got a lot of smaller safes and cabinets located throughout your home. And as it works out, the safest, most secure places to store firearms are also the best places to have fast access to a firearm. It really works well together. The form factor of an AR-15 type rifle, that challenges a traditional gun safe. I've got a lot of videos and I've got a lot of comments on my views. The traditional gun safes really have failed the modern gun owner, and they've never changed. And we tried to work with Liberty. I've worked with Fort Knox, several of the companies on licensing agreements, trying to bring them up to do a better job. And they always, in the case of Liberty, we pulled back. In the case of Fort Knox, they pulled back. But they're under this notion that a 36-inch wide safe that's 20 inches deep holds 40 guns. And they pack all these little W's in there that you're supposed to hold your barrels, and they have 40 of them. They say it holds 40 guns. The safe actually holds about 15.
Yeah.
And this whole capacity thing is driving the industry just in a crazy direction. So when you look at modern rifles, the capacity of a safe is probably 1/3 its stated capacity. Everything we do, our 6-gun safe holds 6 guns. I don't care what guns they are. Our 12-gun safe holds 12 guns. And we hold all of our guns per military standard, which is what we call straight line access. All guns are stored in one row. You're never digging through guns to get to the one you want. It also gives you organizational awareness, is another one of our terms. You can open the door, glance at your safe, and you know everything is where it's supposed to be. And that's, in the consumer world, people are used to having these gun safes where you're unpacking 8 guns to get to the one you want. You're laying everything on the floor. It's just a mess. And we're trying to get consumers to operate and think about how they integrate and work with their safes and work with storage the way an armorer would, because it's just much more efficient.
Yeah. Well, I like the concept of a modular gun safe. And I assume by that you mean, you can buy one smaller safe and then you can add to it. You can don't have to put it all in one spot. I like that too, because basically what I'll tell my students is I'll say, listen, you don't want one gun safe, in your house, because typically people will put that in their master bedroom, which would be like upstairs, right?
Yep.
But you don't know where you're going to be when someone breaks into your house or where they're going to break in. And so I recommend, one in the basement, one on the main floor, one on the second floor, so that you always have access to the gun safes. So I like the modular idea, the concept. Talk a little more about modularity.
So when it comes to modularity, that is our agile line of gun safes. It is a building block system. It's based around the Agile Model 52, which is a 6-gun safe. But then I've got a 40 that stacks on top. I've got ammo storage. I've got pull-out drawers that can go underneath it. And you can build that at my home. In my home office, I've got a wall of cabinets of all different models. And that's, guns and gear for hunting. I'm an avid hunter. And having that kind of modularity and that level of flexibility just makes everything so much easier, so much more organized. And then we're also modular inside the cabinet. Now, our cradle grid technology, our cradle grid system, is a simple two-piece moving system. It's a base plate that goes in the bottom of the safes, and then it's an upper cradle that's adjustable. The idea is you can walk up to a safe or a rack with a gun in your hand, adjust the cradle to the proper height, place the gun in cleanly and quickly. And that upper cradle will hold, I mean, in the military, it's every rifle, every submachine gun up to shoulder launch systems and larger crew serve, belt-fed machine guns and things. But for consumers, it holds every single gun and does it properly. The other side of it then is all the gear. Traditional gun safes don't deal with gear at all. There's no provision. And when you look at the volume of gear associated with modern firearms, it's growing exponentially. If you're big into hunting and into tech at all, the volume of electronic gear, of calls, of optics. I got so much stuff coming into the space. So the way we handle gear storage is based around simplicity. We have a whole line of bins, trays, pieces that go behind the guns, above the guns, behind the barrels. You can also go to Home Depot and buy bins and all sorts of items that go into our racks. Our rack is an open architecture system. We originally designed it so the military could solve storage problems anywhere in the world. So when people have my system, sure, I'd love you to come to my website and buy all these accessories. But you can go down to Lowe's or any hardware store and get accessories that'll fit the cabinet.
I like that idea. Tom, I think that if I opened up my long gun safe, took a picture of it, and sent it to you, you would probably become nauseous. Because
I've seen a lot of them.
Well, it is so unorganized. I mean, basically, it's like a rectangular box that sits upright, and you put the guns in there, and they've got little indentations where you're supposed to put the guns, but they never stay there. And it's like I've got like 6, 7 shotguns, carbines in there, and they're like leaning up against the wall. And it's like I have all I can do to keep them from falling over. And I hate that. But when I look at pictures of your system, it's totally organized. It's more like what I saw when I was in the Marine Corps, in the Armory. It was just a lot better organized, more secure. And it's like you can open up the gun safe, and it's like I always know that the AR-15 5.56 millimeter is going to be on the far left, and maybe a 9mm carbine is going to be next to it. Shotguns on the right. It just seems like a much better system. But I guess one question that I have: can the average gun owner afford these safes that you have, or is the average person priced out of the market?
No, I mean we're on par with our Agile safes start around, I think, $600 for the 40. It's a 6-gun safe, and they go up. Our six gun Agile 52 Pro it's under $1,000. Our Answer safes are under $2,000, and that's a much bigger double door safe. And then we do make the True safe, which is a true fire rated safe, which we can talk about fire ratings if you want to. Your Liberties, your Fort Knox, your basic gun safes are not fire. They have a fire rating. It's 100% nonsense. I posted a video a few months ago on the testing procedure and why gun safes do not survive fires. Our True safe is made following the original patent for a fire-rated safe. It's a double-walled steel safe filled with a concrete composite, and it offers, it's 2-hour, 20-minute fire rating. And that's using the industry test. The actual fire rating in that safe is probably 30 minutes in a real fire, because I can get into that, but the whole testing procedure is horribly flawed and skewed to make safes look like they've got fire protection, and they don't. But that's a $7,000 safe, and it's a beast. When you buy it from us, it includes white glove delivery. We deliver it, we install it, we take all the packaging away. Because it's too heavy, we will not let a consumer move that safe. We have a professional crews that we contract with them all over the country that can do that, because it's just too dangerous. But
Oh yeah,
that's what
falls
it
on
takes
somebody's leg.
to have a fire rated safe. The
Yeah.
thing is you don't need a fire rated safe. When you look at actual fire data in America, your risk of losing guns to a fire is incredibly low. And in the actual major fire events where guns are lost, look at the fires in California, the fire rated gun safes all melted. Just they weren't there. I mean, those when you get to that level of fire, nothing is going to protect your guns. There's no fire rated safe that will survive that kind of an environment. So, we always say, why worry about it? And the material they use for fire ratings, the drywall, the carpeting, the adhesive, those materials are all banned from use in armories or banned from use in museums storing relic guns because they're all very corrosive. The reason the gun safe industry sells goldenrods and desiccants and all this anti-corrosion stuff is because the material in their safe is driving corrosion at a pretty alarming rate. I did a video on that a couple of years ago that got a lot of views.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of that. For me as a homeowner, I'm not really concerned about my guns getting burned up in a fire. I'm concerned about my guns being stolen or unauthorized people gaining access to it. How do the locking mechanisms, how do they stand up to, other companies?
It's interesting because we take a different approach. Our locks are I mean, we use hardened steel bolts in all of our safes, and that is your security. The actual lock itself, we use for the most part, it's our own design. It's a digital lock. Now this is HSFA locking is what we call it. That's high stress, fast access. We made a change to this lock end of last year, and it was a pretty fast change. We had hosted a training event at Summit Point Training Center with Gary Melton, Paramount Tactical. We'd brought in a bunch of industry writers, a bunch of gun people. These are people who shoot a lot and they're part of the industry. And we put them through a force-on-force in a shoot house, live fire. We're shooting simunition. So you get hit, it hurts, but it's not going to kill you. And we were setting up scenarios where you're home, you've got a fast access safe, and somebody breaks in, and we're above the shoot house on a catwalk with cameras, and we're watching everything. Became very aware when people enter fight or flight mode. If you're home, all of a sudden your front door gets kicked in, and three guys run into your house, you're going to go into fight or flight mode. Unless you've been through hours and hours of stress inoculation training, which civilians never do, you're going to be in a very strange state. What we found when we got people to that level of excitement or that level, they couldn't open the safe because they didn't have the fine motor skills to push the buttons on a standard safe lock. We watch people, I mean, they're in this high stress, crazy environment. They're laughing because they know they can't really get hurt, but they're trying to go, I can't do it. I can't. It was crazy watching them, but it really hit a nerve with me. And I came back to the office and I designed the lock the following day. And what we've done, we've simplified the lock. It's much larger keypads. They're 1.5 inches. They're big square keypads. And it makes it so regardless of your level of stress or the state you're in, you've got incredibly fast access to a safe. I also want your listeners to know we do have biometrics on our safe, but you'll never use biometrics for fast access because it's not what I call never fail technology. Biometrics works for convenience. If you got friends over, you want to show them your new gun, you can open the safe with your fingerprint and not have to hide your combination. But in a true fast access scenario, our fast access locking using the buttons, if I'm standing in front of my safe, I'm sub 1 second access. I'm pretty quick at it. I practice it. But biometrics, if your hands are wet, they won't open. If you're wearing gloves, they won't open. If your hands are dirty, they won't open. If your skin is really dry, it may or may not open. If you haven't reprogrammed the lock in 6 or 8 months, it may or may not open. The technology is a convenient technology, but is not something that you put your life on. It's just not there. So a lot of the safe companies are saying, hey, biometrics. And it's like, no, we've done a lot of studying on this. We did a lot of work with the military in 2011 on biometrics and RFID. And the military did not adopt either for very good reason, and we don't. I mean, we offer it for convenience. And the other piece is, I'll talk briefly, is RFID is coming into consumer safes right now. You've seen Hornady has their rapid safe with RFID badges, and I posted a video. I'm hoping they're going to change this. RFID is dangerous for consumers, and it should not be used. It should be avoided. And the challenge is the average consumer is not experienced with what I call key controls. So you buy a safe that has an RFID lock, and they're going to give you 2 key fobs or 3 key fobs, a little credit card thing, maybe a wristband, and a couple other like peel and stick things that have RFID chips. All of these will open your safe. Now, if you put the little tag on your keys the way like Hornady wants you to do, so now your keys are like in my house, I've got a key rack by my back door next to my kitchen. All the keys, I've got kids with cars, so all the keys hang there. Well, if somebody breaks into your house and they see, car keys, and they see this little Hornady fob, well, now they know you've got a safe, and now they've got the key to open it. So now you're allowing anybody with one of these fobs to open your safe. The other side of it is, if you've got a home invasion, are you going to go looking for a key fob or go looking for a little card to open your safe? You're going to walk over, do that combination in less than a second, and you're armed and ready. It's flashy technology that slows you down and puts you at risk and has no business in consumer gun safes. It just doesn't. And
So
I'm hoping that Hornady will listen and make some changes, because they're a great company. I use their Lever Evolution ammo almost exclusively for whitetail. But the safe things, man, they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, on the on your gun safes, it's a digital keypad. So where does the power come from? Is it from a battery? Is it plugged in?
Yeah, the batteries, it's a internal battery system. There's also a USB connection, and then you've got a key override. So you've got the batteries last, depending on access, 6 months to a year or longer, depending. I mean, I'm in and out of my safes almost daily, and I replace the battery probably every 8 months or so. It gives you a warning well in advance of the battery going when it starts to get a little bit weak. Should you be gone, should something happen, you can simply plug a USB cord from a charger into the lock, and that will power it. And then our safes also it's a high security access key, and that you remove the nameplate, because the keyhole is actually hidden. Remove the nameplate, and the key will get you access to the safe as well. I always tell people, when it comes to like our fast box line and these fast access safes, every New Year's Day, replace all the batteries in your smoke detectors and your gun safes. Just do it every year.
And your optics. And also your optics. I had that one too, but
I've been in that debate about, I've got red dots now on my handguns. I've got a home shotgun. I always wonder, if you just leave it on. I've had guys tell me it'll last 6 years. Some of the mil-spec ones last a long time, but I've not dug into that too far yet.
Yeah. Well, I think from experience, it's off topic here, but like my Trijicons, the RMRs, it's like I've let them go, and it's like 3 years and counting.
Yeah, that's what I've been told as well. The other piece that I'd like to hit on when you're talking about security, you talked about locking. The greatest security that you can have is secrecy. The traditional gun safe industry, if you look at the ads, like I just saw, there's a big full-page Liberty ad, and the language was heritage, pride of ownership, heirloom showpiece. And the photograph is 2 guys playing pool with a big river rock fireplace. The view out the window is like the Rocky Mountains with snow, and everything's beautiful. And this huge gun safe with this beautiful lettering on it, kind of this Wild West theme to it in the room. And I'm just like, this is crazy. It's a showpiece. No, it's a gun safe. Why would you allow people walking by your front windows to see you have a massive safe in your house? Yeah. It's crazy. All of our safes, part of that modular, smaller form factor, all of our safes are shallow. They're 1 row of guns. They're designed to go into closets. They're designed to go into discrete locations. And as it works out, we study a lot of FBI crime data. the most secure places in your home to store firearms are also the best places to store them from a home defense standpoint. A thief breaks into your home, and the data is pretty solid. They've got a lot of data on this. Thief breaks into your home, typically break-ins between 12:30 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're going to master bathroom, master bedroom and closet, home office, den, dining room. They're out of the house. They're out in about 9 minutes. They're looking for prescription drugs. They can't find those, and they're looking for something of value that they can just quickly grab and get out. So when you look at guns in your home, people want to have a gun when they sleep, but in your master bedroom, one gun, if there's two people, one per person, small, fast access, safe. Next, kitchen. People spend a lot of time. It's one of the most used rooms in a house is the kitchen. You spend a lot of time there. If you've got a pantry, like I've got a good sized pantry, I've got an Agile 6-gun cabinet in my pantry. One of those is a ready to roll AR-15 for home defense with a little red dot on it. And then I've got part of my gun collection. Closet next to your front door. Extremely secure location and proximity to your front door. I put a fast box in or an Agile in that closet with a pump shotgun or an AR-15. If you're at your front door, somebody's there and you decide you're not going to let them in and they want to get cute, you're armed in less than 2 seconds. In your den, that becomes more discreet. I go with a small handgun safe in a drawer. But, I look at the home this way and really you're kind of turning storage up on its head because nobody ever thinks about storing guns or valuables in your kitchen. If you've got a big jewelry, a big watch collection, your kitchen pantry is one of the safest rooms you can store them in. Your bedroom closet, is where everybody stores, stuff like that, is the worst place for it. So we try to set things up that way. We call it the principles of decentralized storage. And if you've got a really large gun collection, and you've done closets, you've got kind of like my house. If you came into my home, you'd never know I own firearms, but I've got a big collection. I've also got an extra bedroom in the home. So I've got that bedroom set up with a made bed, a nightstand with a lamp, a couple pieces of art on the wall, and the room is empty. In the closet of that room, I've got probably 40 rifles. They're all locked.
Wow.
They're in. But again, a thief who's spending more time in running a house is going to open that door, see an empty bedroom with nothing in it. He's probably going to move on. That bedroom's at the end of a hallway. If it's nighttime and we've got any kind of a home invasion and my kids are home, say, guys, everybody meet in that bedroom. Now I've got a hallway that somebody's got to come down. We're all armed and they're never going to get to us. That's kind of an advanced way to look at it, but if you're going to own firearms, why not set yourself up to be in a position to defend yourself? The odds of it happening are extremely low.
Yeah.
But every year there's a statistic that shows that it does happen.
Yeah. I like the idea of having a gun in the pantry because it makes sense. Burglars, they don't come in to steal your canned goods.
Nope.
They're coming in for high value items. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
It does. If you're a handgun for home defense, a small handgun, fast access handgun safe in a drawer in your kitchen is a great option. We're launching a new handgun safe in fourth quarter of this year. It's going to be a little unique in that it's a small molded handgun safe with a base plate. So let's say you've got this secured next to your bed on a little bedside table, very fast access to a handgun. In the morning, you can release the handgun safe from the base plate, walk down to your kitchen. You'd buy a second base plate and snap the safe into your kitchen. Now your gun is secured in your kitchen with very fast access. The idea, like for somebody who owns just one handgun or single mom that has just one gun, is it's next to your bed at night, and then you simply move it to your kitchen in the daytime. It's a lot cheaper than having to buy two safes. The base plates are very inexpensive. And then the safe itself, you can have a plate in your car, so if you're going to the range, you can snap it in. And then the safe will also, you can put it in a suitcase. It is flight ready. It meets all the standards for aviation.
I like that concept for more than one reason. there are a lot of people, a lot of my students, they don't want to buy 3 handguns to
Right.
put, around your house. And there's a benefit in having one gun that you're proficient with. So you don't have to buy duplicates. You get used to the feel and the action of one particular handgun. So that makes a lot of sense. Tom, we're about out of time for this segment of the show. I like everything that you're saying. I'm going to check it out on your website, pricing and all of that. But before you go, tell people how they can get a hold of you, to find out more about your services and products.
Certainly. It's our website's secureitgunstorage.com. If you just Google search Secure It, we come up. We're all over the digital world. You can Google my name, and I'm all over social media. Our YouTube channel is a great place to learn a lot more about what we do. But we're pretty easy to find. Just Googling Secure It.
All right. Secure It, all one word?
Yep. Yeah. Even if you break it up, Google still finds us.
All righty. Okay, good. All right. Well, hey, Tom, I want to thank you very much for being on Home Defense Show today. I appreciate all that you do.
Well, thank you very much, Skip.
This is Skip Coryell on the Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll be speaking with firearms instructor Marty Martin from Florida in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report about a store robbery that didn't quite happen. But during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I've posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out and don't forget to like, share, and follow. God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
He's no Einstein, but he can read and write and feed himself just like a big boy. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. And I'm your host, Skip Coryell. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Apple Tree Media, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by shootingclasses.com. And today we're speaking with firearms instructor Marty Martin from the great state of Florida. Marty, thanks for coming back on the Home Defense Show today.
Oh, thank you, Skip. Always a pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, is it hot down there, or is it starting to cool off yet?
I think we've seen the hottest part. I think we're going to start to get into some nice weather here for the rest of the year.
Oh, that's good. So what is nice weather in Florida?
Well, basically, where I work out on the range during the summertime, it's 120 degrees down on the range.
Ouch.
We'll be back down into the 70s and 80s.
Ah, that's good. That's good.
Really extremely hot in the summer. And of course, the heat index and the humidity makes it uncomfortably warm, especially when you're active and you're moving around on the range.
Yeah. Well, up here, we've had a unusually hot summer. Played havoc with my garden. I had to water my garden quite a bit.
Yeah, I imagine so.
But now we had a cold front move in, and we're down into the 50s now, which it's comfortable. A little chilly, but comfortable.
Sure.
All right. Well, all right, Marty. Tell us, what is the name of your firearms business so people know?
MMK Tactical.
MMK Tactical, and they can go to shootingclasses.com and they'll find it there, right?
Sure can. You can find it there. You can also find it on USCCA, and then you can find us on social media. So we have Facebook, Instagram, so people can go on there and see all the latest things that we're doing. And we're pretty active. We were actually, even though it was hot during the summertime, we were pretty active. We ran quite a few classes. I think we had 14 classes in the month of August.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
So, some of those classes, it was pretty hot, but we've developed a following, and we have quite a few people that attend several of our classes. So we were really fortunate, despite the heat, that we were seeing some pretty good numbers. So I expect in the fall we'll go back to 2-a-days. So we'll probably be doing at least 2 trainings on the range. And we look like we're going to expand here sometime during the latter part of the month of September of 25. We're going to be adding another area to the range. So getting ready to do some expansion. So thankful for people coming and training with us and putting their trust in us for their classes.
That's awesome. I'm Marty, I'm just curious. What demographic, if your students, are they retirees? Are they young people in their 20s? Or what's the mix?
I think our demographic is more in the 25 to 40 age group. What's probably as interesting as anything is, even despite the fact we have classes during the week, we'll fill them.
Really? Wow.
So, yeah,
well, that's good news.
We did a class a week and a half ago on a Thursday, and we had 29 people turn out for the class.
Oh, wow. What was the class, Marty?
That one was on stopping the threat.
Okay.
So, we go into some legal things. We talk about effectiveness of technique, and then we do a little bit of stuff with firearms. So a little bit of all of the above, but I think those are good numbers for the middle of the week. And the demographics, again, I would have thought would have been at work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, I'm glad things are going well down there. Marty, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this article about a crime. Okay. It's an unusual one, but it should be interesting to talk about. An attempted store robbery turned awkward when the would-be robber discovered his intended victim also had a gun, according to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office in Florida. It happened September 9 at a store on North Pace Boulevard in Pensacola, and surveillance video shows the suspect was thwarted at every turn, starting when he couldn't find anyone behind the counter. Unbeknownst to the would-be robber, a store employee had watched him arm himself before entering the store. This employee headed to the back room to arm himself with his own personal gun, the sheriff's office said. Seconds later, when he sees the employee return, he freezes. The employee returned to the counter holding his own gun toward the befuddled attempted robber. At that point, the suspect is heard trying to come up with a non-threatening reason he brought a shotgun into a convenience store. It's for personal protection, he explains. I don't mean no harm. I'm just not from around here, he tells the clerk. I'm from Chicago. The man then slowly walks out, cautiously watching the clerk over his shoulder. No purchase was made during the encounter. Thankfully, he decides that it is not the time for a robbery, the sheriff's office said. A 32-year-old suspect from Pensacola was arrested September 15 in nearby Santa Rosa County, and he was found in possession of the Benelli shotgun seen in the store, the sheriff's office said. He is charged with openly carrying a prohibited weapon and attempted robbery with a firearm, officials said. Bond was set at $100,000 for the attempted robbery with a firearm charge, jail records show. What's your take on that one, Marty?
Well, there's a lot of stuff to unpack here, Skip. And the first thing that we have is that the individual says he's from Chicago. And then if I'm reading the article correctly, it says a 32-year-old suspect from Pensacola was arrested. So was this the same individual, or this was a separate individual that had the shotgun? I'm thinking that the way the article is written, that the individual was from Pensacola who had the shotgun and he lied about where he was from.
Yeah.
That's
if he's going to rob the place,
catches my attention. And irrespective whether he's from Illinois or he's actually from the Florida area, Florida, we don't have open carry. So somebody walking around the parking lot, much less going into a store, is asking for trouble.
Well, Marty, I didn't even know that. Up here in Michigan, we have open carry, but just hardly anyone ever does it. But I did not realize that Florida didn't have open carry. How long has it been that way?
It's been for quite a while, Skip. I don't know that I have a specific year that goes back to, but under current structure, Florida is not an open carry state. There's a couple of circumstances where a person is allowed to. One is in your house, and that's covered by Castle Doctrine. But a business owner can open carry in their business if they choose to do so. And then there's something for disasters that if the sheriff of a county opens it up under martial law during a certain period of time that the governor has declared a disaster in that area, you're allowed to carry an open weaponry to protect life.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, and a kind of a side note that some of the listeners might be, especially Second Amendment listeners, might be interested in, Skip, is that Gun Owners of America has had a lawsuit against the state of Florida relative to the open carry issue. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that comes along, because right now Florida is constitutional permitless carry, meaning that you don't have to have a concealed weapons permit to carry a gun concealed. But we're still not an open carry state. Well, I don't know how all that's going to change if Gun Owners of America wins their lawsuit, because then Florida would be an open state. I don't know how many people would actually open carry or whatever, but this individual in the story that we're discussing, him openly carrying the shotgun because he's not from around here. Again, I don't know the truth or the validity to that statement, that he says, "Hey, yeah, I'm from Chicago. What you got going on? I got my shotgun here because I don't know anybody." That's a very welcoming committee, right?
Well, it wasn't a very good story. It wasn't a very good story that he came up with. In Chicago, if you were to walk downtown Chicago carrying a shotgun or walk into a store with a shotgun, I don't think you would get a real warm welcome, because I know that they don't tolerate
Chicago's
that.
environment today, right? I mean, we know what the climate is of all of the turmoil and supposed or accused shootings that have been making the national news about what's going on any given weekend in Chicago. If he was from Chicago, maybe he's got, I can't go anywhere in Chicago without my shotgun. But that doesn't necessarily fly. Hey, dude, you're in Pensacola, Florida.
Well, not all criminals are the sharpest tools in the shed. It just seems like he could have come up with a much better story than that.
Well, he may have come from an area, regardless of whether he was over in the Pensacola area or wherever, that he felt he was going to just walk in, he was going to have the shotgun that was going to intimidate the store clerk, and he was going to be able to get a quick and clean robbery.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably what his intentions were. But it says they charged him with attempted robbery. Even though he didn't actually commit a robbery, he came in, and it's like, how are they going to prove that he intended to rob the store? Even though, any thinking person would put two and two together. But does he have a legal defense there because he didn't actually rob the place? Or
Well, I think what that's going to come down to is what the detectives actually are able to prove in court. And I would also say that in a lot of these situations, law enforcement is going to try and give as many charges to the state's attorney's office as they can, and then let them see what they can prove.
yeah,
Especially if you have somebody that you believe to be a bad actor, it allows for the bond to be set higher, and maybe that person's not back out on the street right away. I found what was more interesting to me is that it was stating carrying a prohibited weapon. Now,
hmm
I don't know if that's the actual charge that came off of the police report or if that's the interpretation of the journalist who wrote this article. He was carrying a prohibited weapon because a Benelli shotgun is not a prohibited weapon in the state of Florida. So
yeah,
I don't know where that falls out at. Carrying an open weapon would be a more apt description of the violation of the law in my mind. But again, I don't know what the journalism liberation, the the embellishment of the article to get more people to read it by the journalist. Not taking anything away from them, certainly.
sure.
Just saying, I found that it was carrying a prohibited weapon was an interesting phrase to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Is there any place where a Benelli shotgun is prohibited because it's a Benelli shotgun?
In today's society, Skip, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're
Right.
probably
We
right.
never say we've seen it all because as soon as we do that, somebody says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh,
Well, I know, Marty, in a lot of especially blue states, but blue cities, even in red states, they have a lot of problems with things like cashless bail and low
hmm.
bail being set.
Right.
This guy's bond was $100,000. Is that typical for Florida? Does Florida have trouble with low bonds and then setting criminals right back out on the street again?
I don't really have a definitive answer for you on that one, Skip. I do believe that, again, it sounds to me like they were trying to get as many charges as they could to get that bond up there as high as they can, and then allow for the attorneys to be able to get some of those charges dropped, if you will.
Hmm.
But again, in the meantime, if that individual can't post that high of a bond, then they keep them off the streets for a little while. That's just my speculation there. I don't know for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, if this particular incident is indicative of Florida, I would say they're doing a pretty good job on keeping bad guys off the street because that's not a small bond
Right,
for the charges, so
right.
that's good.
Well, if you noticed that they arrested him in Santa Rosa County, the sheriff of Santa Rosa County is a little bit like Grady Judd from Polk County.
Oh,
Quite an
okay.
infamous character with his policies relative to certain things that he says. And some of your listeners can probably go on YouTube and type in the sheriff of Santa Rosa County, and they'll find some very interesting comments that that sheriff makes because he's pretty conservative, like Grady Judd is, and has a tendency to be very, very straightforward on some of these nonsense things like this. So if they caught him with a shotgun and they had any link to him being in the store, that is part of the reason that they're probably trying to bring these extra charges. On the other hand, maybe the assumption is there's no reason for him to have walked into a convenience store with a shotgun other than maybe his
Yes.
attempt was to rob the place. So they've got him on
Yeah.
attempted robbery and let him prove that he wasn't,
Yeah. Well,
especially
and
since he didn't buy anything.
yeah, and you really don't know what he told uh, law enforcement when they questioned him. I mean, he could have
Sure.
just spilled his beans
Sure.
right there. But, one thing that impressed me, Marty, was the employee. He had enough situational awareness so that he saw this guy getting out of his car with the gun, and he had enough presence of mind to run back and get his own gun. I thought that was pretty sharp on the employee's part.
Well, I think that's kind of a double-edged sword, Skip, because if you see somebody coming into the store that's armed and you get your gun, are you ready for a gunfight?
Yeah, well,
Or
I
would the
think he
smarter
probably
play to
was.
be, yeah, yeah, most definitely. It's like you're not going to rob my store. And it
Yeah,
may be that we don't know what the history of that particular convenience store is. Some get robbed more frequently than others.
that's
I
true.
think that happens in a lot of places, not just in the state of Florida or certainly in the Pensacola area, but it's very possible that the store owner had just had enough. He didn't want to be robbed anymore, so he went and got his gun. And when the guy came into the store, it worked because it would appear that this individual was surprised by that, didn't know how to respond, and certainly was caught off guard with whatever he was going to say about it.
Yeah, he had the drop on him. I think probably from now on, instead of keeping his gun in the back, he might actually have it on his person because that's one thing. You don't always get advance warning,
Right.
because it probably took him, what, 15, 20 seconds to go back and get that gun and come back out. So a shotgun, if you're talking about it, a 12 gauge shotgun, that's a formidable weapon in the hands of someone determined. Um, Man, so if you're going up against a shotgun with a pistol, I would think you want to make your shots count. Um,
Well, interestingly, Skip, we don't really know what the store clerk had as their firearm
that's
either. I
true.
think that the article says with his own personal gun, he might have had some sort of a small fire, a small shotgun, or well, he
That's true. Yeah.
might
It
have
just
had
says personal
something a
gun.
little heavier. He had his
Yeah.
personal gun, and it's okay if you're going to bring in a shotgun in my store. Well, my shotgun's bigger than your shotgun.
Yeah, for all we know, it could have been an AR-15. It
Yeah.
doesn't really say. Hmm.
All
Go
of
ahead.
that's an interesting thing on the spin on the article. And the other thing that I would say is we've talked about it on the previous shows that we've done together. It's important for everybody to know what the rules are before you go and do something, because unfortunately, that's where we see a lot of people make a mistake. They think they're doing the right thing and they're not.
Yeah. Well, what do you think would have happened in that jurisdiction? If the clerk had just shot the guy with the shotgun. He walks in and he shoots the guy. It's all gonna be on video. What are the legal ramifications of that?
I think given the information that we have to make a decision from here, that under current Florida statute, the store clerk probably would have not been found guilty of a criminal charge
Hmm.
because he was threatened with deadly force. So an individual walking into his store with a shotgun, loaded or not, would have given everyone a reasonable indication that the individual is there with bad intent. And so that would be threatening deadly force. So under current Florida statute, he would have been justified in defending himself.
But all he wanted was a cherry Slurpee.
But what's undetermined is whether or not the individual would have had somebody else who would have come
Yeah,
along and then tried to pursue charges civilly. And
yeah,
that's where we see a lot of things, even here in Florida, where it's almost a given that if someone does protect themselves and they are not found guilty of criminal charges, they're still going to have the civil aspect of it.
yeah.
And
That's interesting. Here in Michigan, part of our stand your ground law, one of the provisions there says that if you have to shoot someone and you're not charged criminally, then you can't be sued civilly.
right.
Um, but they don't have that in Florida.
Well, they have something along those lines, Skip, but we have court cases and we see this through our USCCA point of contact. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
all of our USCCA representatives have stories about that. And so, yes, to your point, there is some validity to that, but again, court system is the court system, and in those states that maybe are those counties that are a little bit more democratically involved, there's still going to be the civil side. It's just the fact of where we are today.
Well, you know that saying, this is America. You can sue anyone for anything, just
Right.
about. All right. Well, hey, Marty, that was a really good analysis. Tell us one more time how people can get a hold of you.
They can find us at mmktactical.com online. And again, we have social media presence, so they can find us on Facebook and they can find us on Instagram.
All right. Well, Marty, good analysis. Thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today.
Again, thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next one.
All right. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to check out our sponsors, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, Apple Tree Media for website security, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my action thriller novel, Stalking Natalie. I think you'll like it. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!